Hi, dear cricket fans. This is your host Ram once again with Cricket Happenings. I welcome you all to Cricket Happenings Show, your regular and favorite cricket show. Well, with Ram now, we are going to hear about the third day's play in the second test match between South Africa and Pakistan, which was played at the Sheikh Zayed Stadium here in Abu Dhabi. Well, yesterday we looked at a mountainous score of South Africa 584, and they had also actually taken the wicket of Mohammad Hafiz. And we all were talking that maybe Yunus Khan has to actually score a double century. But unfortunately, Yunus Khan today failed. He couldn't really come to the party. But all the other batsmen really came to the party. Tawfiq Umar came up with a very good contribution of 43. Azhar Ali unfortunately missed. Second time he's actually missing his test century. I really feel sorry for Azhar Ali because I feel that he's like a rock for Pakistan cricket, and he was looking very impressive too, taking a lot of body blows from Mohan Markel, but also getting up to the challenge, actually pulling him for boundaries. I really feel sorry for Azhar Ali that he couldn't get on to make another century, and this time he failed by 10 runs. Well, and after that, Yunus Khan failed, and Misbah ul Haq actually is still there. Still Pakistan, as you know, the score right now. They have put up a very good display, all thanks to those solid contributions coming, barring Yunus Khan. 317 for 6, another 67 actually to actually avoid the follow on. Doesn't look a very arduous task now with Misbah ul Haq remaining undefeated on 77 at the close, and Asad Shafiq, the debutant, playing very well for his 61 with some very good feet movement, and the way he was playing spin was a real sight to watch. The use of the feet was absolutely admirable, and Asad Shafiq in his first test actually getting a 50, he made 61. And as I said, Pakistan have put up a very good display here, 317 runs for 6 wickets at close. They all started with Tawfiq Umar and Azhar Ali, and both of them started playing the strokes. Tawfiq Umar also trying to show, I would say there was a lot of application by the Pakistani batsmen today, and that is very, very refreshing to see. Tawfiq Umar stuck it out. Azhar Ali, as I said, was growing in confidence with his strokes, but also he was getting a lot of body blows from Mohan Markel, but still he withstood all the onslaught. And well, the first wicket to go was Tawfiq Umar, who Callis actually took his wicket when Tawfiq Umar actually played a bit loose shot to Amla of the bowling of Callis for 43 with 5 boundaries. After that, Yunus Khan walked in. Well, Yunus Khan got 2 boundaries, and that was it. Steen with a slower delivery made Yunus Khan mistime a drive. Amla took the catch once again. Yunus Khan was gone for 14, and Pakistan were 153 for 3. And well, at that time, Misbah ul Haq joined Azhar Ali, and both of them stitched together very good. In fact, in fact, from 153 for 3, they also lost Azhar Ali. As I said, today was a I would say, a stroke-filled knock. He had 12 boundaries in his score of 90 of 175 balls. And well, he was a victim of Steen when actually Smith took the catch. And Azhar Ali, as I said, I really feel sorry for this bloke, Azhar Ali. He really, really deserved a century because it's the second time he has missed a century there. Well, good luck to Azhar Ali in the remaining matches. After that, Misbah ul Haq was joined by Asad Shafiq, the debutant. The Asad Shafiq, the debutant, really, really put up a very good partnership there. That is the time where Misbah ul Haq and Asad Shafiq really stitched a very good partnership of 105 for the fifth wicket, which was very essential because at 156 for 4, South Africa could have really strangled Pakistan. But well, it was not to be thanks to that young debutant Asad Shafiq, who looked very impressive with his stroke play. And as I said, his feet movement was absolutely admirable. He was on twinkling feet with the spinners, and he stroked force. And one also saw the interview that he gave to the commentator Ramiz Raja, where he was sounding very, very confident when he spoke that he found that the new ball initially was doing something, and after that he could actually play strokes. So this Asad Shafiq has also been looking impressive. He has been given a good run in the one-day internationals. Then he comes into the test matches. Well, I think Asad Shafiq has is really proving a point or two to the selectors here with his 61 today. And then Misbah ul Haq was the one who was actually nurturing Asad Shafiq, being the veteran and the campaigner, the experienced campaigner. And well, Harris came in and actually had Asad Shafiq. When Asad Shafiq was caught by Callis of the bowling of Harris for 61 with 10 fours, Adnan Akmal started off and he actually played a very few good boundaries. In fact, he hit 3 fours in a score of 17. He was very aggressive, but he also fell to Harris for 17. At the end of the day, Misbah ul Haq was not out on 77 with 9 fours and 1 6. Abdur Rahman was not out on not, and so Pakistan finished the finished the day, the third day's play, at 317 for 6. And as I said, 267 runs still in arrears, but the first and foremost target for them on the fourth day would be to actually clear up the 67 runs first, and then thinking about the other thing, because they do have Abdul Rahman, who is no rabbit at the bat here. Umar Gul can bat a few. Mohammad Sami, we have seen he has batted in the, and Tanveer Ahmed already bowled well with 6 wickets, probably good shipment. So it all depends what support Musbah ul Haq gets at the other end. If that goes their way, then probably Pakistan would be able to save the follow on. But all in all, I thought Pakistan have put up a very valiant effort here in trying to defy the South African bowling of Dale Steyn, who had 24 overs, 7 maidens, 3 for 78, bowled with a lot of pace today. Mon Morkel, as impressive as ever, 24 overs, 10 maidens, none for 66. Jack Scally, 17 overs, 6 maidens, 1 for 47. Johan Botha, 11 overs, 3 maidens, none for 44. And Paul Harris, 30 overs, 10 maidens, 2 for 71. So this is as far as this match is concerned, dear cricket fans. We Since I'm having time on my YouTube broadcast, I'm going to do a very quick preview here of the second test match between Sri Lanka and West Indies, which is going to be starting at the Premadasa Stadium here in Colombo. And well, as you know, Sri Lanka were almost had to save the match here with Chris Gayle making the 333, and Sri Lanka and West Indies completely ruling that particular first test match. And also there was some rain too, so basically things really didn't go West Indies way, unfortunately, even though Chris Gayle scored at 333. So let's look at what Sri Lanka is going to do here. As far as Sri Lanka is concerned, Taranga Pranavitana was very impressive with a score of 95. Tilakandi Dilshan was initially on that when they put up the opening partnership, he was looking very good, but after that he succumbed. Probably Dilshan has to really take that on and get on to a big score. Kumar Sangakkara, the captain, well, he failed in the second innings, but well, Kumar Sangakkara is, as you know, what a captain and what a batsman he is. Mahela Jayawardene, another experienced player there. Angelo Matthews probably has to. I know he doesn't bowl, but basically his batting is the one which would be the key there. Thilan Samaraveera, always one of the classic test batsmen that Sri Lanka has, and Prasanna Jayawardene, the wicketkeeper, who would be there, who probably would have found himself on the wrong end there when he actually failed to actually help Sri Lanka save the follow on there. And the bowling, Nuwan Kulasekara was looking good the other day, and well, the spinner Suraj Ranadive and Ajantha Mendes. Ajantha Mendes, well, definitely had a 6 wicket haul, and he would be hungry for more. Dilara Fernando, another experienced bowler, and Suraj Ranadive, the right arm off spinner, who could spring a surprise or few, because there's no doubt about Suraj Ranadive that he is one of the very upcoming bowlers in the Sri Lankan camp. As far as West Indies are concerned, well, they don't have things really going their way. Shane Shillingford very well is going to play. There has been some controversy regarding his bowling action, very unfortunate, but I thought Shane Shillingford is the best thing to happen for the West Indies cricket, but here we see that it has been drowned into controversy now. Shane Shillingford, I hope he keeps his morale up, and you know, he starts getting on starts getting on with the game, and doesn't make that affect his bowling, because basically he's in this early years of his career, and I wish him good luck that he really goes through this phase very quickly, and start becoming a very good bowler for West Indies, because I'm told that Suleiman Ben might come into the equation tomorrow, so that will be really strengthened. That is definitely a very good job that West Indies will be doing, because Suleiman Ben has already proved himself as a very experienced bowler, so there will be a lot of variety there, left arm spinner, a right arm off spinner, and that would really be something that West Indies would love to do against Sri Lanka tomorrow. And then the new ball will be in the hands of Kemar Roche, who was looking very good, very pacey, and very on the mark. He was absolutely hitting the mark there, and one wishes that Kemar Roche continues his good work. Darren Sami Rada, medium pace, and the captain, well, he would be absolutely motivated after getting that. Getting off into such a position for his team there. Carlton Borg will be the wicket keeper. Dwayne Bravo probably would look out for a good knock here. Probably missed it in the first test. Probably going for that. Brendan Nash, another he's the vice captain of the team too, and he'll be looking out for a good knock as well. Shivnarayan Chandrapal for sure would be looking out for a very long knock at the crease here, and probably follow in the footsteps of Chris Gayle and get a big score going there. Darren Bravo already has been mentioned, and the replica of Brian Lara, the great West Indies batsman, has already showed glimpses, not glimpses. He has shown a lot of his talent in the first test with getting a 50 on his debut there. Adrian Bharat is another exciting opening batsman. And Chris Gayle, what to say about Chris Gayle? Chris Gayle is the danger man as far as Sri Lanka is concerned, because if he goes the distance, then Sri Lanka once again are going to be at the negative side of this particular test. But well, people say that the pitch is actually it's a long time before any matches have been played on this pitch in Premadasa Stadium in Colombo, so one does not know what exactly is in store as far as the bowlers are concerned. One has to wait and watch what are the vagaries of the pitch, and hope we have a very good game of cricket there in Premadasa Stadium in Colombo, where rain doesn't even doesn't even come near to that particular test, and the match goes the whole hog. So because it looks to be really tightening up after West Indies put up a very good performance in the first test, I think it's for everyone to see there, and wish and pray that this match goes the whole hog, and we have a tight contest there. That's it, dear cricket fans, subscribers, and fans of Cricket Happenings. This is your host Ram saying cheers. Thank you.